Hello, room. This is Greg Allison with Green Greg's Garden and Worm Farm, coming to you right now beside my log barn. So I'm going to walk away from this. There's a lot of activity going on around here. Sorry for being a couple minutes late, my friends. Had a visitor unexpected, and just took me a little bit longer to wrap up than I thought it would. But in any event, I want to talk to you today about a couple things. One of them being inspiration, and the other of them being the fact that we're going to have another little prayer session in just a few days on the 20th. Another 2-minute prayer and meditation session, or just 2 minutes of silence and kind of stop the world silent protest if you're not one who prays or meditates. And we're going to do this on the 20th, again at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The 20th of February, so it's 02/20/2020. Another 2 minutes. Now, I hope again that I can do a live session. I'm not going to promise it because I need to get far away from the building I work in order to do a live session, because there's just too much noise and racket, and I'd rather have a private session with you guys than get engaged with everybody around there. And so that's not something I need to deal with. So hopefully I can get away and do a live session. That is my plan. But in any event, what I want everyone to do on the 20th of February at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 1 p.m. Central Time, which is 12 p.m. Mountain Time, 11 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 a.m. And I guess when it's noon Mountain Time, that's probably, I always get confused whether it's a.m. or p.m. That may be a.m. still. But anyway, so on it'll be 11 Pacific Time, 10 a.m. in Alaska, and 9 a.m. in Hawaii. So, and again, we're picking that time because most of the listeners still presently have a central mode around the Eastern Time Zone because it's just so populous there. So that's what we're going to aim for. And this time we're going to pray and meditate for health. To lessen the effects of what's going around, my friends, the spread of the diseases that plague us at the moment. That's what I want to ask everyone to pray and meditate for. Now, you can hear some frogs if you listen. May not be as loud right now, but they'll be louder tonight. Can you hear them? Can you hear my peeping frogs? So, one thing I'm going to tell you is, I had this session. If you've not seen it, please go back and look at my videos. I did a session with Dr. Paul Cottrell yesterday. We had a really good session. And one of the things we touched on is a nature bath. It's getting out in nature, to commune with nature, because it is enormously good for your health. We even talked about how to bring nature more into the big cities. He lives in New York City. And New York City is a kind of a rough, unnatural place to live in. And just being in an environment like that gets your cortisol up, which is bad for your immune system. And I'm telling you that your best defenses against a lot of what's coming is to have a good immune system and good hygiene. And we all know to eat a lot of things, but meditation is also good for your immune system. Prayer is good for your immune system. Taking time to relax, to let the tensions out. Enjoying nature. Being at one with nature. This is one of the best things you can do for yourself. It's just to get away, get out, get to a park. This is a good place to meditate, in fact. To pray, to reach out to the greater creator, to be one with nature. So, and I find a lot of inspiration myself in Mother Nature. If you need to find something to live for, I talked about your children of your brothers and sisters, your children's children, if you have that, if you're an older person. So I did a session last Friday. I believe it was Friday. It was a lot colder that day. I had a thick jacket on out here. Today, it's not as warm as it was, I guess, yesterday when I was out here with just nothing but a river shirt. But I'm wearing a t-shirt and a river shirt. It's about 52 degrees Fahrenheit right now. And I was appealing to our wayward, lost adults. Now, a lot of people took that wrong. They thought I was sitting in judgment of them, the whole generation. If you've noticed, the video was about wayward, lost adults, not the ones that are already with it, not the ones that are on top of their game, because they don't need any help. If you're on top of your game, you're there. Now, there are plenty of young people who are there, including all three of my children. And my youngest one is just finishing up in college. She's actually working as an intern engineer in a local company and making a really good salary. So please bear in mind, my appeal was to those that are kind of drifting in life. They don't know where to go or what to do. And so today, my talk will try to be a little bit more inspirational to them and the people in general. We all need inspiration in tough times. Why do we live when the whole world seems to be coming down on our head? What do we look forward to? Well, you still have friends. You have family. You might be mad at the world, but sure, there's somebody you love. Sure, there's someone that you think highly of. Do you want to disappoint those people? How about, when I was a kid, when we had extended families, that was a very important thing. I think one of the biggest reasons that we didn't have crazy stuff like we have today in terms of kids going to school and then committing acts of mayhem, I think there's several reasons for that. One is we're raised different. Two, back in those days, we actually took guns to school. We did. We actually had them in our vehicles. I even took one muzzleloader into class for show and tell. Yeah, it was a fully functional thing. I even had a fully functional cap and ball revolver strapped to my leg in a quick draw position. Totally functional. Same kind of stuff they used, a few decades earlier in times of aggression. Not that I would have done that. I absolutely would not have done that. I had no sense of aggression or no thought of any such thing. And no one even suspected such. Nobody felt threatened because it was just show and tell. That's all. It was a dress-up day at school. Some of you might remember Sadie Hawkins days and things like that. It was one of those kinds of days. And all the teachers were all excited, asked me to stand up and tell the class what all I had. I got a funny story about that, but I'll save that for later. But in any event, it was a nice time, but nobody did crazy things in those days. Well, one of the reasons nobody did crazy things was because you might be mad at your mom and dad, your nuclear, most immediate family. Kids typically get that way when they're in their teens. But you used to always, in an extended family, be a loved aunt, uncle, or grandma or grandpa. And that would always stop you because you didn't want to embarrass them or be worried about what would they say, what will grandma say, what will Aunt so-and-so say, what will they think? And, that was a pretty motivating factor to stop people. So we do need to work on pulling our extended families back together. We do need to work on our communities. We do need to work on our tribes and social networks. We're not raising our kids, and we're turning them to raise each other in gang style and turn them loose to the wolves. That's a terrible thing to do for our kids, my friends. It's a terrible thing. So we need to give our kids love, support. By the way, you've probably seen some videos of me driving my tractor through here. This is got to be backfilled some. The guy who trenched it out for me didn't dig it deep enough. So it's really inhibiting me from using this hole for the projects I want to do, but I will get around to it and fix it. This, my friends, I refer to affectionately as wood hinge. It is a future project, and I will fix it up. Time and greater creator permitting. In any event, but see, I do get a lot of good nature bath here, and it really helps. It helped me when I was a kid to be able to escape from school and all the frustrations. So, maybe you need to help the young people or yourselves out into nature. Find a place to get away, because this can be a great inspiration, because we do have a beautiful world that we live in. No matter how bad we people may be or society may be, there are people that you do love. There's goodness in people, and you can find that if you look. But if you're only looking for the ugliness, you're going to find plenty of that too. But look out here. Mother Nature is a wondrous thing. There's Mother Nature on the outside of you, and there's also Mother Nature on the inside of you. The Creator's tapestry is all through the stars, the trees, and then your cells. So these are things that you can look to. Now, I'll look at the chat session here in a minute. I just want to talk for a few minutes first. These are all things you can look forward to. What inspired me? I was always inspired by a number of things. I was always a lover of nature. I grew up on a farm. I spent a lot of time in the woods. I always loved nature. I was always into science too. I was always a science fan. When I was a little bitty kid, I mean, like just tall, just big enough to walk and get out in the yard, like 2 or 3 years old, and an airplane would fly overhead. I'd get excited. I'd go running through the yard with my hands up, airplane, airplane, you know, airplane, yee. And I knew there was people, human beings, and that big chunk of metal hurtling through the sky, and that just thrilled me to no end. There's a little bitty kid. Because I was watching, I'd watch birds and other stuff fly around, and I knew I couldn't exactly do it off of my own 2 feet as times were, but I knew there was people in those, and it really excited me. I remember when my other kids grew up, and I would tell them, look, airplane, airplane. They go, yeah, okay, Dad. At first I thought there was something wrong with them. And eventually in time I realized it wasn't them at all, it was me. I was the oddball. But anyway, I've always been inspired by science and engineering and technology, but also Mother Nature. I live in both worlds. I'm a rocket scientist in the day, and I'm out here right now, you see. But I got dissuaded when I was a kid. My weekly reader, and all the little literature I was reading, the articles I was seeing, and all this stuff that I was running across, I read widely as a kid. Everything told me that there was a study done by Meadows and Meadows. They did it for the Club of Rome. They supposedly got all the world's best scientists, and they entered all this in the computer. And they determined we were totally going to run out of resources by the year 2000. No way around it. The world was going to grind to a stop in the year 2000. And they told us that, well, Jacques Cousteau had a Cousteau Society. I joined the Cousteau Society when I was in high school. I thought it was a great thing to be a member of, but Jacques Cousteau told us that the oceans would be dead by the year 2000. That there would be a big slime form across the surface, and most of us would die of asphyxia because there'd be no more oxygen produced, all by the year 2000. Well, it's year 2020. 20 years later, and we don't appear to be any closer to that than we were then. So, garbage in, garbage out with computer programs. But boy, they really believed at the time, and I was convinced of it. And I decided I was going to go to my Mother Nature leaning roots, and I wanted to escape the world and go out and live in the wilderness in Alaska. Now, I did go to Alaska later, but I did so in the Army. So I had quite an escapist attitude for a while, and it really got me in tune with learning survivalism things. And when I was a kid, I was studying wild edibles. When I was a kid, I started toying around with the ideas of trapping. When I was a kid, I built a muzzle-loading rifle. When I was a kid, I used to run through the woods and try to run on top of the rocks and jump creeks with a full load on my back and a rifle in my arms. That's what I did, because I was wanting to be in shape to go out and live in the wilderness. I had planned to go to British Columbia or Alaska, and I was actually planning to hobo a train to get up that way. I'd even wrote the railroads. I had all the tracks lines laid out. I told them I was doing it for a school project. I had it all figured out, all laid out, how I was going to get up there and the things I was going to do. I was actually going to build a river raft down the Tennessee River and to about Cairo, Illinois or somewhere, and get a train up there. But I had the Canadian National Railroad lines all laid out. I knew the whole thing. I had a huge map of British Columbia. I had a huge map of Alaska. You probably saw the tapestry that I keep behind me of the dog sled. I've had that since I was a kid. Used to hang over my bed, that image of the dog sled. So I've always loved Mother Nature, but at the time I was pretty much an escapist. I thought this whole world was going to collapse. So I was motivated to do it in that fashion. Now it's kind of paying off because I know a little bit more about survivalism, just kind of like the back of my hand, than a lot of people. It comes natural to me. And it probably always did. Maybe when I grew up in the country, spent all my time in the woods when I was a kid. So these things, growing up on a farm, it all kind of come natural. But when I was in second grade, my nickname was the Mad Scientist because I was so interested in science and space. But I kind of gave that up the time I became a 14-year-old. Along that time, I kind of gave up. I decided the space program wasn't going anywhere. All we had was a little space shuttle just going to go around the world, and we weren't going anywhere. I was aware of concepts for space development, advanced ideas for space colonies, but I thought they would never happen. But then in my senior year, I discovered something called the L5 Society, an organization whose proposition was to make it happen. I got excited then. I joined and got very active in it. It had been for decades. So my friends, that motivated me. It motivated me a lot. I thought, the this whole world's probably going to collapse, but there is a chance, just even a slim chance that we might get through it, and that chance was worth fighting for. That's why I joined the L5 Society. That motivated me to go to college. Now, I was already a senior in school, didn't sign up for the classes you need for college prep. I hadn't even tried out a lot of stuff. I didn't really know what my acumen was in some of the technical topics in maths, which I later aced completely throughout college. But, you know, I wasn't even sure I could do it at that time. But guess what? I had the fire in me. I had enough fire that I mastered it. I did it. I worked hard. It didn't come easy. It came because I stayed up all hours and plotted at it and worked at it and struggled and fought to get the knowledge, the learning, because I had a dream. And I pursued that dream. So one of the secrets for motivation is to have a dream. And then don't give up on it. Work for that dream. Nothing worthwhile comes easy, my friends. Nothing. And none of this came easy to me. I worked for it. My parents did not send me to college because I had a girlfriend that kind of got involved with. The next thing I know, she's telling me that things are coming along the way, and I thought the right thing to do was to get married. And that's what I did. Well, lo and behold, she kind of pulled me into that, I guess. But in any event, I did what I thought was the right manly thing to do because I believed that that's what you did. You didn't run from and shirk your responsibilities. I never believed in that kind of stuff, and never have. So I got married. Well, we didn't have a little one coming, but you know, hey, I bought me a house trailer. I got a job in a factory, making all of $4 an hour. Bought a house trailer, a little used trailer. It was a little bitty thing, but it was real. And I discovered I couldn't get medical insurance on her due to a couple of complications, and she did get pregnant. And so I joined the Army. I did what I could to take care of business. I joined the Army. Deferred my college plan somewhat. It took me 11 years to get my bachelor's degree, but I kept going. I didn't stop. It wasn't an easy thing to do. And I didn't do it for the money because at that time aerospace is a very unstable career path, and it still is to a lot of points because it's politically determined. And the politics blow like the wind. But I wanted to do something for the future, and that's why I did it. I wanted to fight for the future. Since my whole life has been about trying to save the world, and it still is. That's why I teach you the things I teach you. That's why I talk about the things I talk. That's why I fight for things like power grid defense. That's why I've chaired 2 conferences at Great Monetary Loss to myself and a lot of my friends that work with me on that. We lost a lot of money trying to save the world. Trying to save the world is often like trying to save a suicidal drunk. But it's still worthwhile. It really is. Because there's beauty in this world. Just look in the smile of a baby. Look in its eyes. And tell me there's not beauty in this world. Just look at Mother Nature. Look in your grandma or your grandpa's eyes, the eyes of an old person. And you see there's a glint, a glimmer quite often. It comes straight from their soul. These are things to live for. These are things to inspire you, to make you aspire. Maybe you have a monetary dream. Maybe you want that big mansion on the hill. I'm not motivated by such material things other than using them as a stepping stone toward accomplishing something. My goal is to see humanity survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. I guess it always has been that, ever since I was a kid. I've just seen different modes and methods to do it. And I think they're still all valid. This notion of prepping, it's needed today. We're in a bad situation right now. There's a lot of stuff coming at us. And speaking of prepping, by the way, I do have a new opportunity, a new deal. I've been in contact with My Patriot Supply. They actually called me, and we've set up a new site, a new website called prepwithgreg.com. Prepwithgreg.com. And we got 2 specials on there. One for 2-week supply of food. Now we're talking food that lasts 25 years. 2-week supply, like $70 off. That's the current rate. And there's a 4-week supply for like $100 off, my friends. So you don't have to go and buy the whole year's supply to get the greatest, best price. But if you want to buy a year's supply, you can still do that like you always could. So I will be putting right now the regular links I've always put below. But the special deal is available at prepwithgreg.com. It's something you can remember, prepwithgreg.com. So that's pretty straightforward. Good deals there. I mean, if you want to, look, That stuff's made here in the United States. It's not shipped from overseas. Yeah, they're working overtime to be able to supply everybody because people are really prepping right now. They're realizing that it may be about to hit the fan here. They're realizing what a long-term quarantine can do here. I will do a special video on quarantine and what that can mean. But my friends, when everybody wakes up to what's coming, which they haven't just yet done, but it may be anytime soon, or the quarantines could start soon, I don't know when it's going to start. It could be any time. I don't think it'll be within the next 2 weeks, but it could be in the next month or two. Look how fast it moved in China, my friends. Look how fast things happen there. So you need to consider prepping. You need to do everything you can to prepare for yourself and your family. So definitely check out My Patriot Supplies, starting with my link, prepwithgreg.com. Everything you need is there for prepping just about. But also go to Costco, go to Sam's Club. You're going to need seeds. Now they do have heirloom seeds on My Patriot Supply. There's also heirloom seeds at True Leaf Market, and you can buy supplies to grow microgreens. So what motivated me, it was a dream. It was a dream that, when I was in high school, I wasn't the most popular kid. I had made 2 grades in 1 year. Actually, I'd failed the 2nd grade on conduct because I was a loudmouth, which I still am. But I only spent 12 weeks in the 7th grade, and I got put up in the 8th grade. I kept the same grades, but that was kind of a social jerk, and a lot of people in the new grade resented it. So I wasn't the most popular kid at first. That came back over time. But, when you're a kid that's not the most popular kid in the world, it's maybe difficult to love the world. But I still thought the world was worth saving. I still thought there was a glimmer of hope, and I was willing to fight for it. Because I know there's good people. I know there's good in people. And all those kids I used to not get along with back then, I get along with fabulously now. So, when you grow up, things get different. When you're a kid, your forebrain's not fully formed. The kind of things that would inhibit you from saying things or you ought not say is not there. And these kids, they're often really cruel. And so it taints a person's view about society and humanity when they're in high school, grade school and high school, especially middle school and high school. And often, if you're in that grade level and you're a kid, you ought to know that there's hope when you get out. You'll discover the world's different when you get in the workplace, if you make it to the workplace. So I got some comments from my other video where people were talking to me and saying, Greg, there's no jobs. What are you talking about the trades? My friends, I know a young girl who used to babysit for a girl that used to come out here and work for me, whose dad used to work for me. She got a job as a machinist. She went to tech school, like I urged you guys to do. It didn't take her but a few months. She's making $50,000 a year. And she's just starting out. That's pretty good. Pretty good. You don't get that kind of rate of return usually out of going to college these days, unless you major in engineering, which my youngest daughter is covered. So, all my kids are doing well. They're all highly motivated. Again, I was talking to the ones that were wayward and lost. And maybe I seemed like I painted the brush too broad, and if I did, I apologize for that. I'm not too big to do that. But bear in mind, there is a subclass of kids that are basically at the wage grade level who have a hard time getting motivated. And I've hired literally 60 of them to work here for me. And seldom do I find any that will show up on work on time. When they get here, they want to spend all their time on their cell phone or take breaks. If you turn around and they're not watching, they just stop working. That's what most of them do. Not all of them. That one girl I mentioned, she was real good. So, I'm not having trouble with minority kids. They've all been good workers, except one maybe. But as a lot, they're better. So, it's some little white boys that I've always find challenging. There's a few good ones, but it's challenging. Wayward souls, my friends. Wayward young souls. Now, I know this is going to make some of y'all mad that I've said this, and it made people mad when I did the other video. But again, I'm not talking to everybody. I'm talking to those that don't have direction in their life. I'm trying to find some means to motivate. And I wouldn't even be talking about this. Why would I want to talk about this if I weren't trying to find some way to encourage people to come forward and change their lives? That's what this is all about. It's finding something to encourage people to move forward and change their lives, to go positive, because I want to see society succeed. I want to see this world succeed. I don't want to see things disintegrate. I did a video on our nation's disintegration. When I drive by, you tell me there's no jobs. When I drive by the Burger King, they've got perpetual help wanted, all shift signs up there. You go around the shops in town, everywhere you go, there's help wanted signs. When I talk to my friends that own companies, be they farmers like myself or people that own the trade companies, they tell me they want to hire people. They can't find anybody. So, and I had a couple of people tell me, well, I can't find no jobs. Well, I find that highly interesting, my friends. How is it you can't find jobs when there's so many jobs out there? You know, I do see them. They are out there. Maybe you need to move. Maybe you're just in the wrong spot. You know, you don't always start out making $100,000 a year, my friend. Sometimes you got to settle and work your way up. I did that. I absolutely did. I worked in a chicken plant. I worked in a cotton mill. I was in basic training digging foxholes. I worked my way up. I clawed my way up. It wasn't given to me. My parents did not send me to college because I got married and I figured I had to get it on my own. I took it upon myself to start my own family, to be on my own. And I meant to live by that. And that's what I did. I took out student loans. I took out some grants, but I paid those student loans back. I worked for it. And it was not an easy road. And, you know, I maybe have been too generous. I had someone take advantage of me and run me up, way up in credit card debt, a previous girlfriend, and I'm still working to get some of that down. So there's a lot of challenges in life. I'm never going to tell you it's going to be easy. I never told you that. I never said life will be easy, but it's worth it. It is worth it because there are good moments. There are good people, and it's a good cause that we endeavor for. The cause to make this world better, the cause to preserve this planet. And yeah, I am a naturalist. Yes, I am an environmentalist. I may not agree with everything that's coming out of the pop media, which they tell you is pro-environment. I really worry about mercury. I worry about nuclear fuel. I worry about a lot of other things in our environment, all the chemicals we're putting out in our environment that are changing the genders of frogs and fish, that are messing people up. I worry about these things. There's a lot of things I worry about. And I'm active. I recycle. I do a lot of things. People say, oh, Greg, you don't believe in, you know, global Wing, right? Or you're talking grand solar minimum, you talk this, you talk that. I'm gonna tell you what, friends, I got a little smaller carbon footprint than most of you that are out there playing your harps on this stuff. I recycle. I do a lot of stuff. A worm farm is by its nature a recycling operation. And if I get this project built, this is going to be the lead into something grand. I've talked about this habitat concept I have. You talk about zero carbon footprint. I'm not doing it for the zero carbon footprint, but it will have essentially a zero carbon footprint. We may have to clear some coal fields and set them on fire just so the earth don't freeze. Now, that's going to really offend some people because some people can't figure it when someone's joking and laughing and cutting up, which I do from time to time. But thinking maybe it will. So, and there's a lot of snowflakes out there. There's a lot of people that are just too easily offended these days. And that is one of the problems. And that's why we need to harden people off and toughen people up. That's why maybe all the young people ought to go to basic training. You need a drill sergeant to yell at you and tell you you're a worthless maggot, to run you down and break your little sense of self-importance. Now, I know that's going to really evoke a lot of anger, having said that. But you need an attitude adjustment. A lot of people do. Now listen to the frogs. Hear that? Hear my frogs? And they're croaking, and even with me talking at here and croaking. They're croaking with me. They're singing my song, friends. So, yeah, I'm giving a little message of tough love, but it is love. Love is a part of it. I'm not judging anybody. Look, yeah, somebody said, you're sitting in judgment. But I blame my own generation for all this stuff. And maybe my parents were being too easy on my generation. There's some of that too, but they still made us work. I got my tail tore up with a switch. I mean, set on fire by my mom. Teachers paddled me in school, and I respected every one of them. And I love my mom dearly. She tore my rear end up. She set me on fire. But it was a good attitude adjustment. I was definitely toughened up. I was no snowflake, I'll tell you that. So I don't melt easy, not by any measure. So these are good things for you if you can handle it. If you can't, maybe you need to be toughened up a little bit. We shouldn't be so easily offended. These days, everybody's just ready to be offended. It's like they want to be offended. That's nuts. It really is. Now, I understand there are a lot of people that's been put down and kicked around. But, you just got to get up and live. Make the most of who you are and where you are. That's what I advise. Make the most of who you are and where you are. Let the water that's gone under the bridge wash out the sea. And declare a new day and move forward. Be a new person. Declare a new day. Every day is a new day. Every day is an opportunity for a new start. I don't care if you've been in prison. I don't care if you're a drug addict. You still have a chance. Yeah, you got a record. That record will follow you. It will make your life harder. But it don't mean you can't do things. It don't mean you can't accomplish things. It don't mean you can't change your life. It don't mean that you can't live for your kids, for your nieces and nephews. This hole here, there's a little critter hole right there. You see that? There's all kinds of little critter holes around here. So there is so much you can do, my friends. There is so much you can be. There's so much you can become that I really, really am just trying to talk inspiration here. Yeah, I'm mixing a little tough love in with it. But I'm trying to explain that I'm not talking to everybody out there. If you're out there and you're succeeding, you got it. You got it covered. I applaud you. I heartily applaud you. And I'll cheer you on. I'll be your biggest supporter. But there's a lot of people that don't know what they want to do. They live every day, one day at a time. The best thing you can do is to have a dream. Then work your tail off to make it true. Because you can wish in one hand and put some manure in another hand and see which one gets full the quickest, my friends. You got to work for it. Like I said, nothing worthwhile comes easy. Nothing. Except, well, maybe a sunset. What you can get from a nature bath. There are some things that are provided to us, but then that's why it's worth fighting for. That's why all of this is worth working for. That's why all of this behind me here is worthwhile. Let me get myself out of the picture. Look at the woods. Yeah, a little bit of a jump spot here, somewhat. It's actually a graveyard back over there. Look at the my future project site. Before I had that trench dug out, this is like an Olympic swimming pool. It would be up to here deep, and I'd go swimming in there. I've done it. I've swam this back and forth. So, but that wasn't ever the intention for it. This is a project site, a future project. And I've covered it in my habitat, universal habitat talk, and I will cover it some more in the future. Refine that a little bit, because I plan to make this a leading project in the not too distant future. One that can really change the future of humanity. If you want to see what's possible, look at the Earthships. If you want to, some people say, well, there's other gardeners. They've taken up all the business. There's no way I can get in the garden. There's people going into it right now who are killing it and crushing it. There are people that's just now starting up microgreens operations that are crushing it. There's a huge demand for worms. I had so many people buy worms from me. But I said, don't worry, I'm not going to compete with you. And I said, I wish you would. Go for it. I said, my best customers are other worm farmers. There's such a demand. I don't worry about it. People are waking up to the fact they need organic gardening. People are waking up to the fact that they need to recycle. If you get in a quarantine situation, you're going to have nobody come in and get your trash. You better recycle as much as you can. If you can turn that into something that's going to make good potting soil to grow your food in, which you might not be able to go buy no way, then you've made yourself a double accomplishment. You got rid of your trash and you're feeding yourself in a situation where you're quarantined. That's not a lose situation. That's what I call win-win. Plan ahead, think ahead. Buy worms. Links below in most of my videos. Maybe not this one right off. I got to go run worms today and do some other things. www.greengregs.com for that one. Green Greg's Worm Farm. You go to it either way. And again, prepwithgreg.com for my Patriot Supply. And most of my videos got links to the True Leaf Market. All that said, I hope I have said some things that you guys can resonate with. I hope I haven't ticked too many people off. I am not intending to tick anyone off. I'm not intending to offend anyone at all. That is not my intention. If you were offended, then you probably are a snowflake. Okay, now I'm calling names and sitting in judgment. Now, guys, I'm being facetious around. But anyway, look at that. I dream and I start building. I got more work to do to finish this dream. But look at my log barn. Look at my greenhouse. Look at my sled bed worm beds. I build things. I've got a full-time day job. I've got 2 YouTube channels. I am a busy guy. I don't sleep usually about 4 hours a night, which I got to start getting a little bit more on that because I need to keep a good immune system. What's coming around, my friends? But I'm a busy guy. So, but I work. Saturday I was up about 26 hours straight. I work. I do things. Nothing worthwhile comes easy. So if you think you can just sit on your couch and everything comes to you, if you think you can just sit on your couch and the guy that's out here working like me should be paying you a lot of money so you can sit on your couch, I'm probably not going to be the most favorable guy with that attitude. Now, if you can't get off the couch, if you're disabled, hey, I'll help you out. And as I mentioned before, I've helped people out here. I got a couple of homeless people that live with me, and one of the moderators knows one of these individuals. One of these moderators is the one that vetted the individual to me. So, and it's worked out beautifully. It's great. So, yeah, if you're prepping and you're forming your tribes, when you bring people in, you've got to vet them. And the key character to vet for is to make sure they're not a sociopath, especially not a psychopath, but make sure they don't have, make sure they're not an addict. If you want to have them living in your home and living with you, you better make sure you're not going to have issues like that, because then you're inviting in a lot of trouble. You want to make sure that you're bringing in good people with good hearts. And I have found that there are a lot of homeless people out there who actually do have a good heart. They don't have those issues. Maybe it was somebody important in their family that died. Sometimes things just happen, and people fall in hard times and deserve a hand up. And I'm there to give people a hand up when I can. And I've done it. And I think that's the best way. But they do it with pride. They have a sense of accomplishment because they make things happen. I give them that opportunity. But I believe in inspiring. I like to inspire everyone to be the most they can be. You know, one of the people that inspired me the most in my life was a crippled little old lady who was a neighbor. This girl got crippled. She had to stop school when she was in 2nd grade, and her bones all drew up on her. Her hands drew up in such a situation she could barely hold a pencil or a straw. But she was always a good cheer. She always was a good cheer. The fact of being so crippled, the fact that she couldn't go out and do anything on her own, the fact that she couldn't get married and have kids. Her family loved her, and everybody did. She had a great spirit. She was the most inspiring people. I don't know that I could do anything like that. She was a strong woman. She might have been crippled, but she was one of the strongest people I've ever known in my life. And she's gone now, but I still love her to death. She had a wonderful family. The family that she was from, the whole family, was just wonderful people. I think the world of them. They were neighbors to me when I was growing up. And they're still family. You know, back in those days, neighbors were family. We had such an extended community. And back in those days, you could go anywhere and they would insist on giving you food to eat, and you couldn't hardly get out of a place without them trying to feed you something. If you worked for them, they'd try to pay you more money than it was worth. And if they worked for you, you couldn't pay them anything. That's kind of the world I grew up in. And I just recently visited an old friend in Georgia. I was doing a little business with him. He's just like that. Just exactly like that. I said, you know, you remind me of the people I grew up with. You remind me of the neighborhoods I grew up with. You remind me of my whole family, neighbors, and friends. And that's how we need, that's the kind of society we need to get back to, my friends. We need to get back to communities. We need to get back to extended families. Maybe we have to rebuild them. The society where we all move around the way we do today is really fractured the heck out of everything. Hope this concept of a home you can live out of and make a living out of and work at home opportunities, at home additive manufacturing will change the world and get us back to that. I think we can have a much better world, my friends. And that's something that inspires me. I do think we can. And if we have to go through it, hits the fan and shake it off and emerge on the other side, we'll do it. We'll emerge stronger, better, and build a better world on the other side. But if we can stop that from happening, we can fix this world. We can fix this world. It is technically doable. Now, I know somebody, oh, we have too many people. We got this, we got that. My friends, this habitat concept, you have like zero footprint on the environment, and you could put the entire projected population of the world by the UN for the end of the century, which they say will be the top population, as they think it'll fall again, of 9 billion people in an area the size of Texas and New Mexico with everything they need, or half of Alaska. Is absolutely doable. You will have unneeded roads and unneeded power lines, unneeded pipelines, a lot of the stuff that we use in our society, all these systems that we're so reliant on, you won't even need them in that kind of a world and society. And you won't have to mine the ground, you'll just mine the remnants of the civilization before you. And you don't have to destroy it to do it. You'll find we'll have different needs. We can get there. So that is part of my dream. So let's see what you guys are talking about. What are y'all dreaming about? Fish and loaves. Oh my God. I grew up in Yorktown. My father owned an Italian deli. Wow, I can't believe this. Interesting. Raven. Let's see, Michigan Watch. I remember a small remnant community. I wished I could see it again. Guys, be the change you want to be. Let's start it. That's what I'm talking about. Let's start it. Because it ain't here now, don't mean we can't bring it back. It's up to us. I had terrible IBS, very loose stomach. Oh, okay. Irritable bowel situations. You know, these irritable bowel situations, a lot of that's due to the stuff we got in our food today. You can never hear of all the colon diseases and intestinal diseases. My friends, get away from processed foods. My friends, get away from genetic modified foods. My friends, that's what the powers that be would like for you to eat. You know, their vision for this so-called environmental issues they see is to take you off the farm, put you in a city, and feed you that junk. That's what they want you to have, and nothing but. Casual preparedness is never look down on anyone unless you're helping them up. Words to live by. Very good. Very good. So, let's see. Somebody's trying to call me right now. Sandra, I will not help them. Sorry. If you're tied into here and you're trying to call me right now, guess what? I can't answer the phone and do this at the same time, my friend. A barefoot weather day, my feet are loving it. Echo in the forest. Nice. High country homestead, your attitude that makes all the difference. It's your attitude that makes all the difference, and you got dummy in there. Okay, well, I'm not calling names, people. Except I might have said snowflake, but I used that loosely. And again, that's just trying to get people to come to the sense that they need to toughen up. Thanks, Greg. I always enjoy your talk, says Leah. Thank you. Molly, John, we definitely need to sleep more. You're right, Molly. Get her done, says Mike in Florida. I'm actually scrolling up. So how many people we got? 132 and 120 likes. So the likes running high. For the number in here, we don't have so many people in here today. I wonder why. So let me scroll back the other direction, see what I'm missing. Yes, lots of messages. Let's see. Marie says, hi, guys. Hi, Marie. Echo in the forest says, hello, I thought we were being watched. Oh, out here? Been somebody watching? Maybe. Arr. Let's see. Vision love is where you are now. Yeah. Listen to frogs. Can you hear that? I live in the city and I have an indoor garden in the winter. Yes, I've grown bananas in here. I've grown pumpkins on the back porch. That's what I'm talking about. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Let's see. Digna Ortiz. If I mispronounced your name, my apologies. Thank you. Green says Blue Lou 777. Greg, Just discovered you when you were interviewed by Paula Cottrell yesterday. You're great. Oh, well, thank you, Paula. Thank you, Paula. I got all new subs out of that. So, let's see here. So, all right, guys, do hit the like button. We've been on here now for how long? Usually I see the time. I don't see it right now. Oh, there it is. 44 minutes and 51 seconds. Yeah, we've been long here. I got a lot to do here. With cheap composted cow manure from Home Depot. You know, I've talked about this. See my videos on worm beds. You know, the Home Depot stuff does have a lot of sand in it. The black cow and other things has a lot of sand in it. Now, worms do need some sand, but I think it's got a lot more than you need. You don't see it until it gets rained on. You're going to take a bag of that, set it outside in the rain and see what you get. And I'm not sure if it's properly gone through the heat phase. There's just some things I don't know about that. So some of you guys want to experiment with it and tell me what you think about it. I'm kind of afraid to use it. I just prefer to go to horse stable and get some horse manure. You can use peat moss, but I use the horse manure myself. If it wasn't for all the glyphosate, the best thing in the world to grow worms in would be gin trash in my area, but I don't trust that stuff because I know they got too much glyphosate in it. And I see a bright light somewhere. I wonder why that light's so bright. Okay, I know now. Anyway, so Echo, I love dandelions. Hey, I did see a bunch of dandelions near Atlanta Saturday. So I say yep for some new subs too. Let's see. Angela Sandlin, you've been here a lot of times. Thank you, Greg, for all you do and spending time this afternoon with us. Angela, you've been in here quite a few times. So let's see. You're a moderator. Something eats radiation. Say, I've never had any noticeable luck from black cow products, especially the composted manure. Well, the music, well, that's what I worry about. That's why I don't endorse or tell people to use it. A lot of people ask me that. A lot of people. You follow from the view of the Northern California coast here. Run boy, yes. So, what else we got in here? Trying to see what some of you guys are having to say here. LOL, my kids rake all seeds and plant them, especially dandelions. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's a great thing. Fishes and loaves life. Oh, so I didn't know. So somebody in here called fishes and loaves. Great, wonderful. Florida. Can't leave. Husband's job is only here. Raven going to start. No big deal. Fruit trees and tropics. You can survive beside what Greg said sprouts. Yeah, in Florida you can grow a lot of stuff. Good old days, said Raven. Yeah, I'm just kind of scrolling through some of these notes. My father and his friends would hand my brother a 22 long rifle and say, "Go have fun." Yeah. Hey, when I was a kid, a 6-year-old kid would get a gun and go out and hunt. You'd give him a shotgun and a rifle, 6 years old. They ain't go around shooting other people. It didn't happen. It didn't even start to happen. It wasn't about to happen. My generation didn't do that kind of stuff. Why? Maybe partly because we had those extended families, and what would grandma think? Two, if we wanted to fight, this is how you fought, not with guns. I mean, that was for armies, not for people. That was just craziness. We didn't do that. And, we still respected other people, respected life. We might have been mad at somebody. We might have hated somebody. We weren't. We might want to punch the lights out, but we didn't want to shoot them out. We wouldn't do that. And if you were crazy enough to go into school back in those days and try something like that, you wouldn't get far. Not like they do today, because kids carried guns to school when I went. You wouldn't have got far. So if you were thinking to do something like that, guess what? You wouldn't think it. Because those kids are too cowardly to do something like that in an environment like that. And maybe bullying is a big part of the issue too. We do need to limit bullying. Bullying is terrible. We need to reinforce our kids. So here's the most important thing for your kids. And a lot of you have done logged out, won't hear this, so maybe I need to start this off with a future session. The most important thing for the kids is to tell them, literally, they can be anything they want to be. Don't tell them they're stupid. Don't ever call your kids stupid. Don't ever say you're dumb. I've had kids tell me they were dumb. I said, why do you say that? Well, that's what they've heard all their lives. That's why they say it. Don't ever tell your kids that. That's the worst thing you can ever do to a kid. Tell them you can be anything you want to be. Tell them that they can aspire, that they can accomplish things. Make them believe in themselves. Because guess what? We're all born with 100 billion brain cells. It's up to us what we do. The brain is like a muscle. It's a supercomputer, but its abilities are according to how it is exercised. I didn't know when I started in college if I was going to be able to do advanced calculus and all those things, but I exercised my brain and I accomplished it amazingly well because that's what I did. And it didn't come easy. It was a heavy, heavy, hard workout, but I did it. I mastered it. Anyone can, and that's the beauty. Anyone can. No drug-exposed babies. Yeah, that's the saddest thing in the world, Jane. But yeah, I've known some that had been born that way. But you know, I've seen those people pick their lives up and make great accomplishments. I've seen it done, so I know it can be done. Yeah, they're starting with a handicap, but it all depends on what's in your heart. And you need some fire in your heart, a determination to see your dream through. You need a dream and a fire in your heart. Might hurt. There's something up in the trees. Something up there. Maybe a squirrel. There's a pretty good sight on them. But I'm never making a lot of racket, so they'll be on the other side of the wood from me. We all have a light inside us. We all have a soul, my friends. So that's where the beauty comes from. That's where the love comes from. I mean, you know, Hollywood plays on that because they know how to craft a scene to touch you. Every time the guy and the girl finally get together at the end of the movie, even if you're a guy, don't it hit you in here just a little bit? Don't it hit you right here in the heart? Don't you feel it? Don't it resonate with you? That's because that's where your soul is. That's because that's where God comes through inside you, if you let him, the greater creator. That is a sign that you are human, that you care, and that is why life is worth living. That everybody has a touch of that in them, just about everybody. Maybe sociopaths are more challenged, but 90% of the people, or 99% of people possibly, do have enough good in them that we can turn this world around. We can make this world a better place. We can, because there's so many of us compared to those that would like to take this world down the road of the hive. We far outnumber those that would drag us into the hive, my friends. So we can still save this world. There's the hope. There's the dream. So my friends, I challenge you all to pray and meditate, because I definitely believe we can shift our world into that better dimension in the multiverse, that path of the better outcome. Whatever you think the end of the universe is, whatever you think the boundaries on this multiverse are, I'm here to tell you that there are better paths to go down. Some paths are better than others. And you can at least shift yourself to the best possible path. And one way to do it is by the power of prayer, the power of intention, through your meditation, through your prayer. And that is why on the 20th, we'll have another session, 2 minutes. And we're going to try to move this world into a better place in terms of health, in terms of what's going around, to slow down that, to help that, and to help those that are sick. This is also a matter of peace. So that's what I want to ask you all to do. Join with me, please. Be a part of that. You don't have to come on to a live session to do it. You can go to your best place for meditating and praying, whatever works best for you, and be one with the universe. Be one with a greater creator. Say your prayers. Be one with nature. But connect, pray. If you don't believe in prayer, if you don't believe in meditation, stop for 2 minutes of silence. Because if the whole world stopped, the powers that be would take note. They would go, what's going on? That would be a message to them. The more people we can enlist and get in this movement, as we continue and exercise it forward, the stronger we'll be. This, again, is like exercising your brain muscles. This is exercising your power, your meditative muscles, your means of, a peaceful means of getting attention. And that's what it really boils down to. a peaceful means of getting attention, changing the world. Together, my friends, we can move this world. Together, we can make this world a better place. So be the change you want to see, and join me in prayer and meditation for peace, health, and liberty. And we'll get there. In the meantime, keep your eyes wide open and your head on a swivel, and endeavor to meet the purpose of this channel, which is to help you to survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. That's what I want you to do. Survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. So we've gone long. We've not had as many people today as we had in the previous sessions. So hopefully you'll share this. And I wish everyone a wonderful President's Day today. Wonderful day to honor George Washington, the man who could have been king of this country but had better sense because he had a dream. He had a dream for a great nation. So let's honor his dream. He could have been a tyrant, but he wasn't. There's some people might have thought he was, and I guess it was the Shays Revolution, a few other things, the Pennsylvanians. But he could have been king, but he did not do that. He could have served as president a lot longer, and he didn't believe that was the right thing to do. He did a lot to get us on the path of freedom and liberty. Let's keep it moving, my friends. Let's keep it in freedom and liberty. And I want to thank everyone here for participating. You are the real patriots of humanity, because you wouldn't be listening to this long if you didn't believe and have hope. Thumbs up, please. Oh yeah, so thank you, Soulside Jules. And Shannon, echo, okay. Mike Bond, go away. There's somebody in here making racket. You know, if there's somebody in here doing things that aren't good, you moderators can tag them out. So T.Y. Freg. Greg? Oh, is that supposed to be Greg? I was just talking about Freya. Autism is rarely associated with drug abuse. Yeah, autism, there's high, a lot of high suspicion and correlation that it's increased dramatically after we do certain things to our kids. I'm trying not to name those words on here, but you know what I'm talking about. And by the way, you want some good vitamin C? Here it is. Good way to fight off things coming at us. And I'll be posting a video sometime during the week about wild winter greens. And we'll be doing more sessions with my friend Dr. Paul Cottrell. More with Mike Mabey. See my recent session with him for power grid defense and what you can do right now to harden our grid. I'll be bringing in other people into that discussion. So more on gardening and raising worms and all the good things that you come to this channel for. So leave comments below. Tell me the kind of things you'd like to see, and I'll see what I can get at. Everybody said they wanted to see a blowgun video. I finally did that. And there's a lot more to show on blowguns. So I will do more blowguns, but I'm also going to cover some of the other methods of silent hunting. But I'm going long. I got a lot to do. I got a farm to run. And many things, tax work to do. I got so much to do, it's crazy. So my friends, thank you for spending an hour with me here on a federal holiday, the President's Day, George Washington's birthday. We just had Lincoln's birthday. There's a lot of events going on in the world. So a lot of people will be celebrating Martin Luther King Day soon. There's a lot of things here to look forward to, my friends. So, oh yeah, we just had that, didn't we? I'm sorry, that was the 0202, Martin Luther King Day. That was our big time of peace. And that was a good thing. He had a dream too. I tell everybody to have a dream. So please do. And the Music Well says, thanks for being real. That's what I try to do, my friends. That's what I try to do. To be real. To be genuine. Because I care. That's why I do this. Oh, by the way, do check out my older videos where I show you how you can live off the cambium level, the inner bark of these trees. If you know you can eat from the trees, there's plenty of food here, my friends. If you're starving, don't blame Greg Allison. If you don't know how to fix and purify and sanitize water, don't blame Greg Allison. I've shown you all these things. So my friends, again, have a wonderful, wonderful President's Day. And thank you for watching. Goodbye.